This is a new ministry which is just starting. Reverend Hood needs your help in sharing the good news of Jesus Christ and His power throughout the world. If you would be so kind as to send a donation to Nicholas Hood III Ministries of any amount, Reverend Hood will send you a free complimentary copy of his book of original personal prayers and beautiful photographs entitled The Test, The Strength, The Endurance, and The Way Out.
And the point that I'm making is that in everybody's life, at some point, there's a plan B. God is talking to us every step of the way. God is trying to show you something every step of the way. When things seem to be going wrong, that's God's way of opening another door. I am convinced that God has been directing me every step of my life.
On the Word Network.
Hello, I'm Pastor Nick Hood, and today I want to talk about the importance of being positive. You know, in life, every day is an opportunity. Every person we meet is an opportunity. Every word that we speak is an opportunity. But some people look at the world as a glass half full. Those are the positive people. There are others who look at the world as a glass half empty. And this is nothing new. The Apostle Paul, in the book of Philippians, the 4th chapter, the 8th verse says, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honorable, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are lovely, if there's any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things." And he goes on further to say, and if you think about these things, then the God of peace will fill your heart and your mind with Christ Jesus. And so today I want to talk for a few moments about the importance of being positive. The importance of being positive. There's so many people who are stuck on negativity. They get a raise, but the first thing that you'll hear them say is, "But I should have gotten more." They have everything going for them, but it's never quite enough. I could have done more. I could have done this. I could have done that. But what Paul is saying is, think about those things which are true, those things which are honorable, those things which are just, those things which are lovely. And I find it so amazing that Paul is saying this because he's under house arrest. He's in Rome. He's awaiting trial before Caesar for his faith in God. He has been caught preaching and teaching Jesus Christ as the Messiah. And, he ran into controversy with that. So he's hauled into Rome. He's awaiting trial. He knows that there's a good chance he's going to be executed. And oddly enough, this may sound really weird, but because Paul was a Roman citizen, even though he was also Jewish, because he was a Roman citizen, he was afforded the right of, if he was found guilty of sedition, to be beheaded. And that may sound odd, and who wants to be beheaded? But it was thought back in those times, some 2,000 years ago, that if you were beheaded, that'd be better than being nailed to a cross, because the death would be immediate. And so Paul is writing to the church at Philippi. He wants this first church that he formed in Asia Minor, he wants the church not to focus on his death. He doesn't want the church to focus on his suffering. He doesn't want the church to anguish over what Paul might be anguishing. And so he flips the script. And I don't know if anybody looking at this has ever tried to flip the script when things weren't going right or are not going right in your life and other people feel sorry for you. Have you ever tried to change the conversation? I do it all the time. And come up with something innocuous to talk about. But that's what Paul is kind of doing, and it's better than I am. He's not being innocuous. Paul is saying, Brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honorable, whatsoever things are just, think about these things. And you could take that in many different directions. When he says, whatsoever things are true, it could be, think about the truth that I've been preaching to you. Think about those things which have been, you've seen in me that are honorable. Everybody has their faults, but everybody also has something that's honorable. Everybody has something that may be a little amiss, but in each of our lives, there are truths as well. And so what Paul is saying is, don't get stuck on the negative. Don't get stuck on the sad, but get stuck on things that are positive. Get stuck on the truth. Get stuck on things that are honorable. When you look at my life, when you think about my life, and you think that I may be executed in short time, what's better? Do you want to focus on my execution, or do you want to focus on the good that you've seen in my life? Think about what you heard me preach about, how the importance of love, the importance of kindness, the importance of not being jealous, envious, or cruel. Think about these things. And then he goes on further to say, and if you think about these things, the God of peace will fill your heart and your mind with Christ Jesus. Now, I bet there's somebody looking at this right now who's living in a family. Your family may be with you. They may not be. But sometimes family can be your worst company. I don't know if anybody can relate to that. But, we grow up with family. And in a sense, we're stuck with family. And in being stuck with your family, we have to live with them. But even so, sometimes family will take advantage of family. Sometimes family will be cruel to family. Sometimes family will undercut family. And that is a reality sometimes. But the converse is that sometimes family can be mighty good. Sometimes you'll find a brother or a sister who will rise to levels of excellence, and they will do things that non-family won't do. And the Bible talks about how there is one who sticks closer than a brother. And the brotherly, the sisterly is good. But what Paul is saying is, think about those points of excellence. If you have a brother or a sister who has extended themselves for you, that is a wonderful thing. That is a positive thing. And if you, in your life, feel compelled to do something good for a brother, a sister, a mother, or a father, that is a good thing. It is a wonderful thing. And so I encourage you today to be positive, to look at life with a sense of hope, a sense of can do, a sense of the possible, even when it looks like things are impossible. When I think about what's going on in the world today, conflict between nations, when I think about wars and rumors of war, it can be mighty discouraging. But by the same token, I look for the kernels of hope in everything. I look for the kernels of possibility in everything. And I pray to God that leaders will arise from nation to nation, starting right here in America, where America will be the leader of the world, where America, which is the strongest nation in the world militarily, the strongest economy in the world, where America can really change the course of direction with nations that are stuck on war, stuck on hatred, stuck on violence, and we could do that. And so that's my prayer. My prayer is that all things are possible. because that's what I read in the Bible. And I think of this hope. I think of possibility because I'm a positive person. And what does the Apostle Paul say in Philippians 4, verse 8? Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honorable, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, if there's any good report, if there's any excellence, anything worthy of praise at all, think about these things. And so as you look at this program today, I want you to ask yourself, am I stuck on negativity or am I stuck on positivity? Am I stuck on trying to get even? And am I stuck on being angry with somebody else? Or am I stuck on the hope of a possibility of a better relationship? Am I stuck on the thought that maybe, just maybe, I can pull something wonderful out of a bad situation? And you know, I think that God put us here on this earth for a reason. And I think that God put us here on earth not to be callous, not to be cold, not to be cruel, but God put us on earth to be loving, to be kind, to be generous, to be gracious, and to be good. And I want to challenge you right now. I want you to ask yourself, what kind of personality do I have? Am I a mean person? Stuck on bringing somebody else down? Stuck on looking for the worst in everybody? Or am I a person who is focused on trying to bring out the best, to see the best, to want the best, to hope the best in all the persons that I meet? And I encourage you today to look at yourself as an ambassador for positivity, an ambassador for positive thinking. But you know, some people don't like that. You know, my dad used to tell me sometimes when I would meet a person, he would overhear me say, when the person would ask me, "Nick, how are you doing?" And I'd say, "I'm doing wonderful." And my dad would look at me afterwards. He said, "Nick, why do you keep saying you are doing wonderful?" I said, "Dad, because I am." And my dad said, "But you know, you might want to rethink about telling people that you're doing wonderful." Because, he said, not everybody feels good about themselves. Not every person feels good about their life. And you may make people feel uncomfortable because you're saying you're doing wonderful. And I looked at him and I said, "But Dad, I do feel wonderful." And I said, "Dad, it doesn't mean that every day is perfect. It doesn't mean that everything is right. It doesn't mean that everything is going my way. But what I mean is I feel good. And I feel very good because I can see the way forward. I can feel the way forward. I can even smell the way forward." My wife would say, "Nick, you've gone too far saying you can smell the world going forward because you can't smell," which is true. I have a poor sense of smell. I don't know where that came from, but I still feel good about it. And I encourage you today to think about what I'm talking about, living this positive life. You can't live a positive life unless you are thinking a positive life. You can't think a positive life unless you really feel a positive life. And so I encourage you, if you are stuck on negativity, let today be the first day in a change of attitude where you are prepared to take your life to the highest level. I'm going to stop here, but in a few moments I'll be back. And when I come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about this positive life, being positive, thinking positive, hoping positive, living positive. Pick up the phone, call a friend, tell them Nick Hood is on the line and he's talking about being positive today in Jesus Christ. I'll be right back.
America used to be considered a godly country. It doesn't seem to be that way to me now. And I don't mean to be disrespectful or anything, but it's so many things they're okaying for the wrong reasons. There's not godly reason. People need to really open up the Bible, the Bible, and look in it, and really get it into their heart. And this, the way Reverend Hood is doing this is a comfortable way. It's not forcing anything on people. It's a comfortable way and a loving way for it to continue to move in that direction.
The way Reverend Hood presents it, you can understand it, and it makes you want to delve into the Bible even more so that you can see more, because it seems like the program goes off too fast. We need the bread of life.
We really do.
These days, we need it more than ever. And Reverend Hood's ministry on TV is giving us our bread.
Today we're talking about being positive and how the Apostle Paul, at one of the most difficult points in his life, tells the people at Philippi, be positive. And the way he says it in chapter 4, starting at verse 8, is, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honorable, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are lovely, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise at all, think about these things. You know, there are only 24 hours in the day. And so then one of the questions is, how do I spend my day? I ask myself that question sometimes multiple times a day, which is, what is most important? And what's the best use of my time? And the takeaway that I take from the Apostle Paul in his letter to the church at Philippi is focus on the things that matter. Focus on, as he says, whatsoever things are true. Isn't it interesting? He says that first. What are the truths in life? And I think that Paul is talking about the truth of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I think that Paul, in his own way, is saying that I am sharing with you what I have found to be the truth. And, you know, that truth will set you free. And Paul is amazing to me that he maintains a positive attitude and uplifting attitude even though he's facing death. He is living virtually under the sentence of death. He knows that there's very, very, very little possibility that he can make it out of here alive. But even so, he doesn't want to upset the people of Philippi. So he says, think about those things that are true. If you've seen anything in my life that has been truthful, think about those things. If you've seen anything in my life that has been honorable, think about that. You can always dwell on something that could be better. But if you've seen anything honorable in my life, think about these things. If you've experienced anything in my life that was just, anything that was worthwhile, think about these things. And particularly for the person who's at home alone, maybe you're a widow, maybe you're divorced, maybe you've never been married. Matter of fact, there's some people who are married who need to hear this message. Life is not always everything that it may appear to be caked up to be. And if you feel like something is missing in your life, maybe you don't have enough money, maybe you're upset because your children can't get their lives together, or perhaps you have a grandchild who's floundering around. I know we have some people looking at this right now who have relatives who are in prison. And there are some inmates who are looking at this right now. And I encourage you, no matter what your situation is like, whether or not you're in prison or jail, whether or not you have a son or daughter who's in jail right now, I encourage you to think about something positive. Think about how their time in jail, how your time in prison might be made more positive. I know some people who have gone to prison for many, many years, but have strengthened themselves, gotten a college education, learned skills in prison, learn how to better their lives, and more important than anything else, how to think positive. And in the process of thinking positive, what you found is a way to make better time. And for me, sometimes to my detriment when I was younger, but one of the things as I look back on my life that's been the most refreshing is that I've always been a dreamer. And you know, a person is not just dreaming pipe dreams, but actually dreaming of what I wanted to do next. And for many years, I think part of the reason why I was a little distracted in high school and maybe to some extent in undergraduate was I was just always dreaming about the next thing. And for me, that dream was music. I dreamt about what I wanted to do in music. And it was absolutely captivating. It kept me going day and night. And, you know, finally the Lord got a hold of me and, you know, set my feet in a different path. But the point that I'm making is it's a good thing to have something to captivate you. It's a good thing. You know, if you're going to have a dream, have a positive dream. Some people are good dreamers, but they're dreaming about how to scheme, how to scam, how to cheat somebody else out of something. I'm not encouraging that. What I'm saying is focus your dreams on something that's uplifting. Focus, and if you can't, and if you don't have a dream for yourself, then think about your children. Think about your children's children. Think about somebody else. It doesn't have to be blood relative. Maybe there's somebody else who needs some help. And as you begin to focus on other people, what you will find is that you will be focusing on that which is true, that which is honorable, that which is just, that which is lovely. And those are good things. One, the person that you're dreaming about and dreaming to help and hoping to help will always appreciate you. But you, at the same token, as we begin to help other people with their projects, what we find is that we become better people. In my life, I've seen this happen all the time. You know, when I find a slow moment in the day, I will call somebody who's down on their luck. When I find that I'm not sure what I want to do next, I go visit somebody who's sick. And in the process, what I found is that I feel better. The more I give to somebody else, the better I feel. And so there's actually kind of a bonus benefit to trying to be positive, trying to do good. And for me, it's working. And so that's the word that I share with you. And part of the reason why I'm sharing this today is, one, I think it's a great message. I think it's a very important message for us to get. But number two, I need your help as I'm building this ministry. This is still, to me, a new ministry. My wife kicks me every now and then. She says, Nick, you ought to change that entrance to your program. This is not a new ministry. You know, you've been doing this 2 years. I said, well, for me it's new because I'm still trying to figure it out. But I need your help. And I'd like you to think about helping this ministry. I think it's so important that people hear a positive word about Jesus Christ. I think it's very important that the world hear that there is something to counter the negativity of the world, the confusion of the world, the war and wars that we are hearing about every day and rumors of war, that there's something better that we can strive for. And I need your help. And one of the ways you can help me is just pick up the phone, call a friend, tell them, hey, look, Saturday's 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. There's a guy talking about good news and good news in Jesus Christ. And by doing that, you become a witness. By doing that, you become an evangelist in your own right. I am just so enthused by this program. I'm running into people increasingly in the Detroit area. I hear from those of you outside of Detroit and throughout the country who are writing me, calling, asking for prayer, and some sending donations. And I thank you for that. That's the biggest encouragement to me, because what I see in you is something positive. So I'm praying for you. I'm hoping for you. I'm wishing the best for you. I'm thinking positive for you, because I believe that that's why God put me here on this earth. So thank you so much for watching the program today. God bless, God keep you. And remember, I'm praying for you. God bless.
You know why I really love Nick Hood as a minister? I watched his father do it, and he took over for the church, and he was one of us, but he really turned out to be a great minister. I know it's hard, and that's something that I know that all ministers may not be doing what they're doing because for the right reasons, but I know it's hard. I know he's a beautiful man, and we've been knowing each other for over 50 years. I believe in him. He's inspired me in so many ways to do what I'm doing and try to be the best at it. Make sure you watch Nick Hood's ministries. You'll never be the same.
And the point that I'm making is that in everybody's life, at some point, there's a plan B. God is talking to us every step of the way. God is trying to show you something every step of the way. When things seem to be going wrong, that's God's way of opening another door. I am convinced that God has been directing me every step of my life.
On the Word Network.
Thank you for watching today's program. We hope you've been blessed in a powerful way. Just knowing you took the time to watch today's broadcast is a great encouragement to Pastor Nick Hood. If this broadcast has been a blessing to you, we ask that you mail a tax-free donation to Nicholas Hood Ministries at 4535 Chrysler Drive, Detroit, Michigan, 48201. Ministries at 4535 Chrysler Drive, Detroit, Michigan, 48201.
And the point that I'm making is that in everybody's life, at some point, there's a plan B. God is talking to us every step of the way. God is trying to show you something every step of the way. When things seem to be going wrong, that's God's way of opening another door. I am convinced that God has been directing me every step of my life.